Taurus ascendant, Taurus rising. This is all about August, the first part of August, the first half of August. We're going to talk about the full moon, 5 other things, 5 things in your life that you're going to want to know. This is going to be big because we're going to be talking about Mars. We're going to be talking about our fire. We're going to be talking about our passion, our desires, full moon emotions, which at that time on the day, we'll talk about it in depth later, but it's going to be all about push-pull with my emotions and somebody else's emotions. I'm going to tell you what area of your life, what category, what people might be involved, so we can better navigate these tricky little waters that we have for this full moon. But it all begins right at the beginning of August. We've got major players having conversations, major planets having conversations. So let's look at your 5 things that are going to help to better understand when to back off, when to push forward, to better understand when my ego desires, to recognize them, when to back down, when to say, okay, now's the time to put my foot down onto the gas and to just go steam forward. We're going to take a look at all of this. Number 5, August 1st, literally August 1st. Because on August 1st, we have communication and we have deep power literally opposing each other. So our thinking, our speaking, our relating, our communicating, and then the planet of power, Pluto, fierce force, deep forces, behind the scene forces, people in power. So this would be government, big business, like these powerful forces. This is in an area of your life, Taurus, where it's all about my higher learning. So you've been learning more about the way government operates. You've been learning more about people who have power, how they operate, how they think. You've had a bigger aha in the last 10 years about the game, the big game, right? Big businesses, big government, all these powerful forces and how they work in the 3D material, tangible world. Your understanding of that has grown, right? And we all know, like, there's these games within these games, and a lot of people say it's just another game. It's a matter of knowing the rules to the game. So here we go. This is your 9th house, and your 9th house in astrology, for everybody and anybody listening, the 9th house represents this area of your life that is your philosophy on life, your spirituality. It's the house of the philosopher. It's also known as the placement of 9th house, the placement of publishing. 9th house is this deeper thinking. It's extended education, right? Where you go on to your master's degree, where you go even further to get a PhD. This is all 9th house stuff. Anytime a planet travels through that area of life, and we know a planet is traveling through an area of life when it is in a particular sign. So it's in Capricorn. So being in Capricorn for Taurus ascendant, Taurus risings, this places it in your 9th house. Being there means this area of your life, because Pluto is a slow mover. So being in that area of your life, it's been there for like 10 years and it's got 4 more years to go. 4 more years for Pluto in that area. So you've been learning a lot about how the other half lives, how they navigate, but at the same time, how you can take something away from that, how you can embrace and maybe incorporate some of those things into your life in a way that doesn't have to be an abuse of power, because Pluto is power, but if you abuse it, Pluto will get you. It may work, it may roll, it may be okay for the time being, but eventually Pluto catches up with all of us. So the best thing with the Pluto energy, because it's got so much power, is to understand that you really want to make it about the best for all involved. And so seeing the abuse of power, right? There may have been abuses of power, Taurus, where you're analyzing and you're seeing how these big, long-standing businesses, structures, this is government, this is churches, these big, traditional, long-standing things, anything like the sign of Capricorn, something that has been built up over a very long period of time. Capricorn is ruled by the Saturn. So when we see Saturn or Capricorn, we think time-honored traditions. That's why for people who have Capricorn in certain placements or Saturn in their chart, it takes a long time for you to succeed in that area of your life because it doesn't allow shortcuts. It demands that you do things step by step. Remember, Simon says, if you miss a step, you get thrown right back to the front of the line. This is Saturn. Saturn is Simon. And so it's that whole thing. So in your ninth house, there's this, oh my God, like I had no idea there was this sort of abuse going on. I had no idea there was like people, I had no idea that people in power, that there were some, this isn't me saying everybody in power abuses power, at times comes hand in hand because there is this ease when you have money, when you have power, there's this ease of things and you forget, right? You forget how you struggled at one time. And when things start to just come easily, it's easy to adapt the thinking of, well, it doesn't matter. So having Pluto going through there, Pluto in Capricorn, and now this beginning of this month, August 1st, this is Pluto at one end being lit up by Mercury at the opposite end. So Pluto in Capricorn in your ninth house means that puts Mercury in Cancer, because energies run along a beam. There's a polarity in astrology. It's the science of wholeness. This is what astrology is. This is why I love it. It involves everything, everybody, everybody. As my good friends over at the Murphy family say, everybody. So it's the science of wholeness. And Mercury is my thinking and my communicating in Cancer now, right? So Cancer energy is my home, my family, my tribe. It's mother energy. It's nurturing. It's empathy. So it's people who you consider your tribe, seeing, oh my gosh, there is this other tribe I wasn't considering, finding new tribes, letting go of some, letting go of family, history, and legacy. So there's just been this whole family and work going on, this whole push and pull of my home responsibilities, my emotional responsibilities, how to take care of myself, my inner core, who I am at my very core, and then my responsibilities in the world, my ambitions, my goals at my job. Like, you know, we have a job because we have certain goals. We sometimes are at jobs that are literally just stepping stones. They're not necessarily a place where we want to spend the rest of our life, but we are using them, we have them so that we can, you know, springboard off into other directions, okay? And to get somewhere financially, to be able to go and do something else. At the beginning of August, power in government, this power in big business, this power, all that in your ninth house, you might be coming around where you're seeing more clearly your own power, your own ability, your own knowledge about something, Taurus. You have been doing that. The last 10 years, you have been developing a sense of understanding a new layer of value for who you are because you're realizing you thought you were not so bright. You thought you were not so smart. But there's things about you where you're exceedingly intelligent, where you're exceedingly smart. And if you want to know more about how to find what that is, go look at where your Saturn is at, because your birth Saturn rules this ninth house for you. Because if Capricorn is there, Saturn rules it. And so when you find your birth Saturn, all you got to do is find out what sign it's in and the house that it's located in. And once you find all that, if you don't know what the heck that means, comment below and I will tell you what that additional information means. And that will exactly tell you what it is you've been learning more about, but what you are becoming the master of. Pluto will be in your ninth house of learning, of extended learning, of higher learning, of freedom. Freedom, because that ninth house is freedom. It's traveling, long distance journeys, foreigners, foreign countries, foreign people. Ninth house is your philosophy on life. And so Pluto in Capricorn being there, bringing together of the material, the tangible, the 3D world, because that's Capricorn, and your belief of how to get freedom from that. How can your material world give you freedom? What can you attain? What can you do? What can you deliver that will give you a sense of oneness, but at the same time, pulling in your unity with the universe? Because Sagittarius energy is that ninth house thing, right? It's ruled by Jupiter. So yes, I'm throwing a lot of things in this pot, but it's all part of it. It's very complex. Complex indeed. If you're new here, if you don't know what your rising sign is, I'm going to say this, rising sign is not your birthday. A rising sign includes your birthday. It also includes your birth time, your birth date, your birth city, your birth state, your birth country. Again, rising sign, birth time, birth date, birth city, birth state, birth country. Mercury and Pluto opposing each other. Mercury and Pluto at the opposite end means Mercury sends this beam down to Pluto. Now, Mercury and Pluto get along, believe it or not, but they do, because Mercury is all about thinking. And Mercury's all about the details in the thinking. Pluto is also about the details. Pluto is about stuff that you can't see on the surface. It's about, I can go so deep. They work good together because when Mercury's about thinking and researching, and so is Pluto, Pluto is all about, Mercury tends to be a bit quick. But when they're opposing each other, Pluto sends a beam of energy down to Mercury. And so Pluto's ability to dig for information will add to Mercury's layers of thinking. So it really brings about this, it really brings that about because there will be something that comes to your awareness about your thinking, because this is going to be in your third and your ninth houses, right? Pluto in your ninth, Mercury in your third and your ninth houses. Now the degrees of this, I didn't even give that out yet. And I will, because some of you are listening for degrees. You know enough to follow along. This is 23 degrees in Capricorn and 23 degrees in Cancer. Mercury down here in Cancer, 23, and Pluto up here at 23, 2318 in Capricorn. They're communicating, they're talking, there's going to be some piece of information, something's going to occur, whether it's your dealings with the government, whether it's your dealings with your job, with your work, with big business, there is something that happens where it's like, wow, I had no idea. So you get additional information at this time. Now, on a grand scale, this could be upsetting for a lot of us. There could be things happening in our world where it's like, whoa, I don't understand, or really shocking information. This all does start to begin at the end of July. I did mention this in the July videos. I wanted to give people a heads up. But depending upon your personal chart, this could be very beneficial. Pieces of information, things that we thought we knew about that we have to catch, and we're like, oh, I didn't know that. Right? So we have to go back and we're like, wow. But at this time, there's no retrograding going on. This is Mercury that has to do with my emotions. How do I stabilize on my emotions? I want security. I want emotional security. And Pluto in Capricorn, right? Saying, hey, there might be something here. There might be an answer to how you can get emotional security. With Pluto. Pluto may bring answers. All right, so this is an exciting time, and I'm looking forward to this because this is me too. I am also the Taurus rising, so I am looking forward to how this is going to come about. I can't wait to find out because we have free will. That's the thing. I think some people listen to what I'm talking about and they're just like, okay, I don't know if I can jive with this person. What are they talking about? Is this voodoo? Is this like black magic? No, this is what God created. These energies, this is the language of the universe. God created all the planets. Didn't God create everything? So all this is by studying these things. And from the ancients, they observed and they understood over a long period of time. These are what these qualities, traits, and characteristics are. Planets have personality. This is what it is. When we understand it, we realize at these times, because they have cycles, just like the seasons, they present opportunities, inclinations, possibilities open up or don't, right? Either doors closes or windows open. It all, things change. And that is all that this is. So what I want everyone to really be able to be comfortable with is that I do this because I want to share the knowledge that's here. There's a part of me that has to do it. It's what I came in to do in this lifetime. Like I can't lay down on my head without the planets literally in my head speaking to me. Now that might sound crazy. There's only when something is in you, you have to let it express. You have to share it. It is not for me to keep. And so this is that. Number four, Taurus, number 4. We are going to be looking at the full moon. But before we get to the full moon, by the way, this is a fixed full moon. And this is why I'm starting the readings doing the fixed signs first. Taurus, you're a fixed sign. You are a fixed earth sign. But the full, well, I'm going to go into detail about the rest of the full moon. But we also have to talk about Mars. Mars is in Aries. And I always bring up Mars because if you know where Mars is, you always got to know where Mars is. You always, with Mars, that's that go to sleep, but always keep one eye open. That's Mars. Never go to sleep with both eyes closed. Always know what that dude is up to. Mars is our ego. Mars is our passion, our desire, our drives. Mars is impulsive. Mars doesn't want to think. Mars doesn't think things through because Mars' drive is so strong. It's fiery because it's so strong, right? You see the colors? Because it's so strong, it just takes off like a rocket, right? It's out of there. But you don't want to do that with Mars. That's how you get hurt with Mars energy. Mars does represent our body. So Mars being an Aryan energy is actually a good thing because it does really well there. Mars is comfortable in Aries energy, and it actually gives us a sense of strength in our bodies. So it will also at this time strengthen our head and strengthen our thinking if we're cognizant. It will strengthen our thinking if we're cognizant. Otherwise, you could take that Mars energy and just use it to be the Marine, to be real physical and just go, go, go. That's the danger with Mars. I have Mars on my ascendant. And when you have Mars on your ascendant, you really do feel like someone is standing behind you and saying, you can go faster, you can go longer, you can go harder, keep going. It's not enough, keep going. That's what Mars does when it stands with you. It is like this soldier, this Marine who just pushes you. And it's a part of you that if you're not aware of it, you push yourself to the degree where you injure yourself. It could be with an accident or you just physically push yourself too hard, and you have to just pay attention. A woman who was doing my chart, who was doing a reading for me, had warned me. She warned me and she said, gee, she didn't tell me the astrological breakdown. And I kind of wish she would have, but that's okay because it was this big mystery for me, and it forced me, it struck up my curiosity to dig, to find out, how did she know that? I want to know how she knew that. And so once I started to really dive into astrology, I found out exactly how she knew because I had Mars on my ascendant. These were her words. You feel like you have a person standing behind you, a male person standing behind you, a male figure. They have their hand on your back, literally, and they always push. There's always this force, this pushing, this male energy that is always pushing you to push yourself harder, for you to push you further. And you have to be careful. You have to be aware that it's there. You have to honor and recognize it and get boundaries. Turn around and be like, hell no, you're not pushing me. I'm not doing that. I know that's not safe for me. I know I've done enough. I can't do anymore. I'm in 2020 right now, and I'm grateful for Mars. Even though I've lost a lot of things and my life is extremely different now, I'm grateful because it has given me the opportunity to be here and to do this, to not be able to use my body in that way. I am now forced to be in a chair and to use my mouth, to use my mind, to use my head. And so that's what this is. And that's what we want to pay attention to. And I share my story. I share that little window into my life because when we have Mars squaring Jupiter at the beginning of August, this is number 4, Mars squaring Jupiter. This is going to be Mars in your 12th house. So this is hidden ego tendencies because Mars is our ego, but take it up a notch and it can become something greater. It can become about hidden thoughts that you have that you weren't aware of that may not be as optimistic and positive, and you just want to nip them in the bud. You want to control the thoughts, control the thinking. Don't let it control you. Don't let the ego ever control you, but it's hard to do when you don't know it's there. And so Mars is letting you see these little bits, these little dangling strings of the ego that are left, because the soul is saying, it's time to burn the rest of that away. It's time to burn it. And the fire, we're in it. Mars is in the Aryan fire. And this is the time where we're refining who we are. We are saying no more of the ego desire. We're latching on and letting the soul control. And so the square of Jupiter and Mars means Jupiter is abundance. Jupiter adds to things. Jupiter is all about freedom. Jupiter's all about truth. And Jupiter squaring Mars, Mars says, Mars is in your 12th house, hidden, right? Hidden energy in your 12th house, okay? And this can also, because 12th house energy is a bit mystical, so depending upon how you've been working with your Aryan energy, there could be a lot going on in dreams right now. Pay attention to dreams, especially around the first 3-4 days of August. At the same time, your Jupiter energy in your Capricorn, right? This is your 9th house. So your 9th and your 12th houses are intimately connected at this time. This is that cardinal energy. And your 9th house, I already talked about, right? It's also this Jupiter energy. So we've got Jupiter in the 9th house for Taurus, but it's in Capricorn. So this makes it a bit confusing. And you might have heard readings where it was like, oh, this is great. There's going to be all this wonderful stuff that happens. But Jupiter doesn't do real good in Capricorn. Actually, Jupiter is stifled in Capricorn energy. It lacks the air, the oxygen. It can't just shoot out there, and it's the arrow that flies, and it can't do that. It's grounded. And Jupiter is not about being grounded at all. Jupiter is about up there, being in the cosmos, being with the universe, and being free and touching and communicating with all the different beings that are out there. But in Capricorn, it's grounded. It's been told no flying today and no flying for the full year that it's in your 9th house. Trying to bring this back around to point number 4, we're talking about Mars squaring Jupiter. And so you've got your 9th house and your 12th house linked up. But know this, something beneficial can likely occur. Because when we talk about just the aspect of Jupiter square Mars, Jupiter and Mars together, because they want to take action and they represent freedom and they represent, Jupiter typically represents a beneficial action. Beneficial action. The action can be extremely beneficial if you make sure to think first. This is the key ingredient. The thought is the key ingredient. The action that you take can be harmful if you didn't think first. All you got to remember. So the first 5 days of August, this is all you got to remember, Taurus. The first 5 days of August, there's an opportunity. Something comes up. Do not just go at it. Do not just go half-cocked. You got to make sure you take a minute to stop, to think, to assess, to think it through, to maybe talk it over with a couple other people that are trusted advisors and have a rapport. Find out. Friends, people that you know are sound, people that have objective, rational, logical thinking skills. Toss this idea around with them first. Then, and present it as an option. Present it as, I'm just thinking about this, because you are just thinking about it. But recognize the opportunity can be huge if you have planets. If you have planets at the degrees that I gave. The degrees that I gave were 23 degrees in Capricorn and 23 degrees in Aries energy. Now, if you have 23 degrees in an earth sign, in your sign Taurus, if you've got something around that degree, like if your ascendant is 23 degrees Taurus, this could be super sweet because then there's a trine that's occurring at the same time. So if you don't know and you want to know more, comment your stuff below. If you don't know your rising sign, comment your stuff below. Number three, we're going to take a look at the full moon. Now, this is on the 3rd of August. Now, recognize everything I've talked about so far is all like in the first 3, 4, 5 days of August. There's a lot going on. We've got a T-square. All right, this is a fixed full moon. The full moon happens at 11 degrees in Aquarius energy, 1146. Aquarian energy is fixed air, which means fixed thinking. A full moon is the sun at one end and the moon at the other. We've got the moon up here at 1146. At 1146 in Aquarius energy, and we've got the sun down here in Leo at 1146, the exact degrees. It's the sun opposing the moon. So this is a fixed full moon because these are like energies. Fixed, Leo is fixed fire. Aquarius is fixed air. Fixed air, fixed thinking. Fixed fire is fixed action, meaning I take action because that's fire. Fire is alive. Fire is life. Fire, Leos, they're like, there's going to be action, action, action. And there's going to be a certain fixedness, like, meaning they always do it. They express in the same way. So this is very powerful because the sun is super lit in Leo. The sun rules the sign of Leo. It's in its sign. This is quite powerful. Now for Taurus, let's get to what it means for you. Your Leo energy is all the way over in your fourth house. Your fourth house is your Leo energy. So that's where the sun is at, okay? Now your moon, your Aquarian energy is up there in your 10th house. So it's the 4th and the 10th house creates the full moon opposition, right? Two planets opposing each other, two luminaries, I should say, opposing each other, the sun and the moon. So right off the bat, what does that mean? Let's just dissect that. Let's dissect your 4th and your 10th house. Your 4th is your home. All right, so you've got Leo in the home, right? So that fiery, fixed Leo energy of the way I express, the way I create, my creative form of expressing my individuality, my uniqueness about who I am, how I have fun, that's Leo energy. I love to laugh. I love to have a good time. Entertainment, that's Leo energy. Also, how you take a risk in your life. Leo energies in your 4th house. Do you take a risk in the home, right? Maybe you're not real risky in the home, but maybe you're super creative in the home. I can totally see this. When I'm in the home, I'm just like, okay, this whole place is in my laboratory. Like I want to do this over here, this over here. Like I have a room where I do certain things in. Like let's get creative. Also understand that fiery, creative Leo force is also the sign of, it's also your romance, your romantic partners. It's joy, laughter, how you have a good time. It's dating, relating, mating. It's all that, you know, dating, relating, mating, fun stuff, how I have a good time with my body. That is also Leo energy. So it is also the energy and gives one the ability to literally, if you're a female, to procreate. That is Leo energy. This is why when we come and we talk about Leo, there is this force. There is this divine fire because it literally is the light of life. You have that fiery energy in your 4th house. So your Aquarian energy, your group energy, that's what Aquarius represents, the group. It's different than Cancer energy because Cancer energy is the public. It's my emotional world. It is the public, right? But your Aquarian energy, my like-minded people that I get together with, it's all about advancement for humanity. It's about being in this group and we're going to do something. We have a point of focus. We have a project. We want to move something forward, but it's got to be something that will advance. It's an altruistic placement. It is the server, the ultimate server. That is Aquarius energy. It's also shocking and surprises. It's all about that. It's also about freedom. It has a lot to do with people protesting as well. Big time about people protesting. So in your 10th house, Taurus, there is this unique thing about you and what you do and your drive, your desire for your ambition in the world, how you show up in the world, how you show up professionally in the world. So this full moon thing happening, right? You got the moon up there, right? Shining a big light, because that's what full moons do. They shine a big light on something. They represent, but when the light is shown on something, it says, oh, okay. Now I see something I didn't see before. And so we typically associate the full moon with a closure of something. So there's a closure coming through. And being in your 10th house, an old ambition you once had. There's an ambition you had that had to do with groups and people where there's some sort of closure happening for you. Now, I don't have your chart in front of me, so I can't tell you exactly what that is. But when you look at someone's chart to get more information on that, all you got to do is find out where is the planet Uranus at in your birth chart. When you find out where Uranus is in your birth chart and you see what sign it's in, what house it's in, that fills up that 10th house with all those additional meanings for you. Does that make sense? If it didn't make sense, just come. Number 2, I have them written backwards. I don't know why I did that, but that's okay. So number 2, we have Venus. Oh, I'll start with Mercury. Mercury moves, which is kind of nice. Finally, Mercury is going to get out of the sign of Cancer. So Mercury is going to be moving into the sign of Leo. Yeah, Mercury moves into Leo. Taurus, Leo is in your 4th house. So all of a sudden, Mercury moving into Leo for you, this is in your home. This is here. But what it will do for you, Taurus, because our 4th house doesn't just represent our physical home. Our 4th house represents this home, right? It represents this area, our inner sanctuary, our inner home. Having Mercury go into Leo, for everybody in general, Mercury going into Leo, Mercury is my thinking. Mercury is my thought, the way I think, talk, speak, communicate, and relate. Mercury is siblings. Mercury is my neighbors. Mercury is my community. Mercury is the messenger of the gods. All right, Mercury is the messenger of the gods. Mercury going into Leo then, I like the sound of this. I'm very happy about this movement because when Mercury was in Cancer energy, our thoughts were bogged down with our emotions. We had to learn though, we had to learn that our thinking should involve our empathy and our understanding. The thing is sometimes that gets out of balance and we can't think clearly. Right? Our thinking becomes very slowed in water. But Mercury in Leo, this is air. Air and fire together, what do they do? What do air and fire do when they get together? If you know, comment below. What I can tell you is that Mercury goes super fast through the sign of Leo because Leo is fire. And Leo is optimistic. Leo is positivity. Remember what I said about Leo, right? It's my ability to express. It is my unique expressions. It's my ability to create. Leo energy, Mercury and Leo, our thinking then takes on the Leo qualities, traits, and characteristics. We become more optimistic. In your fourth house, this means home becomes more optimistic, more positive. Also, you'll start creating even more. You'll have more ideas and more thoughts coming through to you. Because in the home, having Leo there and having Mercury transition through there, traveling through there will be like all these ideas coming in. All these ideas. And they'll probably be very fast. Because fire and air, when they get together, boy, those who are out there, you know what happens. Comment below. Let the others know what happens when you take oxygen and fire. What happens? Mercury going into Leo in your fourth house. So this lights up ideas about the home. Communications in the home become more positive, more optimistic. Thank God, right? It'll lighten things up. Things will be more playful. Remember, Leo is fun. How I can have a good time. That's Leo energy. Number one. But before we get to number one, I want to mention some other nuggets first because they're important actually. There are bonus nuggets coming and you're going to want to know these bonus nuggets because they have to do with the future. And I always do this for myself and I think that it's important to share it. You know, and if there's somebody who doesn't want to know about their future, well then okay, yeah, that's the way we'll do it. I'll go to number one, and if you're the kind of person, because I just realized, you know, I want to be able to satisfy as many people as I can. Some folks are not comfortable. They don't want to know. They feel like, but you're telling me that this is going to happen and I don't have free will. No, you do have free will. These energy, these are just inclinations. These are possibilities. These are potentialities. Because this is what the energy will be. That's like saying that winter is going to come, but you don't want to know about winter. Yeah, you want to know about the freezing rain. You want to know about the ice and the snow. This is the same as that. This is the energetic weather. It's the same thing. Number one is going to be Venus. We all love Venus because Venus is always about things being beautiful, things being nice. Venus is all about gifts. Venus is my resources. Venus is my tangible assets that I can see, that I can touch, that I can feel, smell, taste. Venus loves good food. Venus likes sweets. Venus does like her baked goods. Venus is all about the treats, baby. Bring me the chocolate. Like that's Venus energy. Venus is all about the shoes, the purses. Venus is all about the accessories. Venus is makeup. Venus, are you getting the gist of Venus by now? Venus likes beauty, likes things that taste good, that feel good, that when I touch them, aesthetics, they feel good on my skin. Venus likes to look at things that are beautiful. So this is art. This is creativity. Venus has this good eye. I can think of quite a few other people that I've recently become friends with here on the YouTube family who have these great creative eyes. A lot of them are these beauty queens. They're all about makeup and oh my God, they are artists. This is Venus. This is Venus. If you cut hair, if you do makeup, if you do anything that is about beautifying something, whether you're in your home and you're constantly cleaning, whether you're in your yard and you're manicuring and you're hedging and you're mowing and you're bringing all these flowers in, this is the Venus effect. Venus wants to beautify things wherever she goes. She kind of reminds me like the fairy and the pixie dust energy because Venus is about the earth. Venus rules the sign of Taurus. So it's all this very grounded earthy energy. And so the Nucian energy also is about what I love, who I love, the way I love. So it's not just about all the physical things, but it can, and most definitely at a higher level, be about the non-tangible realm and about how do I love myself? How do I show and express love to those in my life that I do love? So Venus is going into Venus is leaving, right? Getting out of the Gemini. Now, Venus has been in Gemini for a long time. Venus has been in Gemini for too long, for like 6 months. Venus is finally moving into Cancer energy. Cancer energy, we've talked about it before. We'll do a little brush up on it right now. Cancer is about family. It's about my emotions, because Venus then will be all about, I need to connect with my family. And I've already seen it. I saw an email buried in my emails last night from a member of my family. And I thought, wow, it's happening already, because Venus, at the end of July, Venus is getting near the butt end of that Gemini energy. And when you get to the butt end of an energy, you start to feel and take on the energies of the next sign. Well, what comes after Gemini? Cancer comes after Gemini. So you see, it's this evolutionary process, right? And when you realize that, when you are able to get your mind around the evolution, it's just steps. There's 12 houses. There's 12 steps. So once we get onto that next step, it's because we already got past the third step, right? That's how we get to the fourth step, right? And I'm saying fourth because Cancer energy represents the fourth house. It's the ruler of the fourth house, right? Cancer energy, ruled by the moon, right? The moon is the master, so to speak, the ruler of the fourth house of Cancer energy. So all of a sudden, mom becomes a big focus. Mom becomes a very big focus at this time, because it's Venus. Venus in Cancer. Cancer is mom. Cancer is females in my life who feel like mom, or feminine energy in my life that feels like someone who nurtures me, or who is just this nurturing being in my world. And so Venus being there, Venus is, but I love that. I want that. So we start to really hone in on that which we feel that we love. We start to maybe communicate, talk, and relate, and really get a clear understanding of who is now a part of my family. We were dissecting that and going through that, for the past 6 months with Venus. Venus was doing a lot of thinking in the Gemini energy, which is friends and coworkers and networking and my neighbors and my community, my immediate community, my short trips, short journey. Well, Venus is finally going to get out of that. And Venus is finally going to understand, although she wanted to travel, although she was all about, I need to get out into my community. God, I can't wait to get out and go shopping, because Venus loves to shop. I can't wait to go and be out there, mingling, networking, social media, internet. Venus isn't going to be doing that as much. Her drive and desire isn't going to be so about that. She's going to be more about what she needs to set up sacred space for herself. So if Venus had been, if you're Venus, if you noticed in your life that you were, and I can relate to this totally, working too hard in a sense of really driving yourself when it came to connecting with others via social media, via the internet, Venus will give you the ability to be like, hey, let's maybe establish some balance here. Let's maybe do what we need to do to make sure that my inner space is really being taken care of. And so having Venus in Cancer is all about family, is all about this home right here. It's all about your physical home, but all about this home right here. Making sure that you're taking care of yourself, really doing what you need to do to create emotional satisfaction, to create emotional stability in your life. Bonus time, bonus nugget number 1. I have a few of them written down. Bear with me. And if you can't handle, if this is too much, press stop, come back later. I don't have a problem with that, This is for you. This is for you. Trust me. I already know all this because I already looked at my own chart. I already looked at the people in my lives chart. This is for you. This is a value to you. If you like what you're hearing, hit that subscribe button, right? Show this channel, the thumbs up, press that thing that says thumb up, but also write it down below. Thumbs up, you rock, this and that, whatever. I like it, I get it, I want more. And that's why you got to tap that bell, because that's how you can get more. Otherwise, if you don't tap that bell, you don't get more. That's how it works. Plus, all those things I just mentioned help the bigger ups at the YouTube to know that this is a channel that is delivering you value. If I'm not delivering you value, then you let me know. Comment below and say, hey, you know what? Whatever your thoughts are. But if I'm delivering you value, let them know. And the only way they're going to know is if you do those steps. If you comment, if you like, if you subscribe, if you share, if you do all those things and tap that bell, that lets them know at the higher ups that I'm doing something right and that I'm delivering you value. So here's the bonus nuggets. Everything I just talked about, the first 5 things, all happened within the first 8 days, or the first 6 days, 6/7th days of August. Now, when we move on to August 15th, we have Uranus going backwards. Uranus will start its retrograde. My Uranus energy, Uranus starts its retrograde at like 10:35, 10 degrees and 35 minutes, and it goes backwards all the way to like 6 degrees and 43 minutes. It's still in the sign of Taurus. It will be in the sign of Taurus for like 5 more years. But when you know those degrees, you can see, is Uranus going to be doing anything? Because Uranus is about shocks and surprises in our life. It's about this freight train that comes out of nowhere, you know, it blindsides you. That's Uranus. So you always want to know what the hell Uranus is up to. Like, same with Mars. You never go to sleep with both eyes closed with Uranus and Mars. I'm always trying to make sure that I'm sharing with you guys what they're up to. And so knowing it's going to go back to that degree, if you had things that occurred in your life, if you have your chart, great, because then you can see for yourself. If you don't, I can get your chart to you for free. I can get your chart to you for free. It's not a reading, it's your chart. I recommend that if you don't have an all astrology birth chart, that you get it, the free one, you get it. Because if you go online, if you use the websites, the automated websites where you just punch in your birth digits, what we found out is for certain birth years, the programming was wrong. We at Allastrology are that passionate about you having the right birth chart for you. The other nugget I'm going to give you, and this is a big one, is Mars is going to be going retrograde in the sign of Aries. I know I've mentioned this before, but Mars is going to go retrograde. This happens in September 9th, okay? Mars is retrograde. There's a retrograde window, and the retrograde window for Mars, which means the degrees that it's going to go over, Mars gets to 28 degrees in the sign of Aries and goes backwards. It goes all the way back, all right? So like on September 9th, it's at 28 degrees, and then it goes all the way backwards. This is why Mars is in the sign of Aries for 6 months, all the way until December. Now remember, Mars is a trigger planet, and it's cardinal in Aries, which means it's going to trigger all the Capricorn energies and all the Cancer stuff. So if you have planets in Capricorn, if you have planets in Cancer, Mars will be messing with you, will be presenting challenges to you. All right, this is just what it is. And knowing what they are in advance, knowing the cycles of the next 6 months for you will help you greatly to navigate those waters. Oh, the degrees of Mars, 28 degrees all the way back to like 15 degrees, 14. I'll come up later when we get into September. I'll give you the exact degrees, but it goes 28 degrees all the way back. So it goes halfway back in Aries, and then it'll go forward again. But again, this doesn't begin until September. But knowing if you have planets between that 15 and 28 degree mark will tell you, are you going to be having additional, you know, things that were tough before? Are they going to be getting tough again for you? Because if Mars goes backwards, it squares up again with those. The very last nugget I'm going to leave you with is not just a regular full moon. And it's not a regular full moon because we have a T-square. So for Taurus ascendant, so if you have an ascendant, if your rising sign is at 10 degrees, you're going to feel this, it's going to be pretty uncomfortable. T-squares are very uncomfortable because it's, I go to my left, I'm told no, or there's a door closed in my face. I go this way, it's the same thing. It's like you're stuck. You go one way, you go this way, there's no room, you feel like you're pigeonholed, and it's uncomfortable because it's fixed. It's fixed. So it's like, no. There's no opportunities left and right, no opportunities. Now, if you don't have any planets, like I personally don't have any planets at those degrees. Even though I'm a Taurus ascendant, my rising, my ascendant degree is not a 10 or 11 or 12 degrees, which is what I would give for an orb, 10, 11, 12 degree orb for this full moon. If you have any planets in the fixed signs, right? Taurus, Aquarius, or Leo, at 10, 11, or 12 degrees, this full moon will be very uncomfortable for you. It has to do with your thinking. It has to do with your speaking. It has to do with your beliefs, not just the way you think and you talk, but the things that you really believe in. Okay, they're challenged at this time by the planet Uranus. And Uranus is in Taurus and it's fixed. And Uranus does shake things up. Uranus's job is to come through and to say, you have this way of thinking that I need to shake up because it's outdated. And you have this belief of yours. There's some belief you have that is old and that is not in your best interest any longer. And it's actually hindering you. So the way you think and communicate and talk and speak and relate, and the things you believe in, something in particular that you believe in, the universe tested you before. It made things uncomfortable, but there's still something that hasn't completely changed yet. And so Uranus's job is to, it's like this Big Ben alarm clock that goes off. It's really loud and it wakes you up. Literally, it shakes things up. Its job is to shatter crystallized thoughts, to shatter crystallized belief system. It wants you to grow. It wants you to evolve. It wants you to change. And if it's on your ascendant, it could have to do with your body, because that's what the ascendant is. It's how we look. It's how we appear. It could be something that affects the appearance. So for Taurus, this T-square with the full moon, it's the home, and it's your ambitions. There's something that has to happen in the home, and something with your ambitions in the world that you wanted to do, that you were thinking of doing, and squaring the ascendant. And something about that where you're like, okay, I guess I'm not doing that. It was this old ambition I had, something I wanted to do in the home, and I guess it's a wrap. The light of the full moon shines upon you. But Taurus, you can do this. This is all about growth. This is all about seeing what no longer serves you. You can do this. We can do this.